What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be looking at the William Nylander saga once again, because it looks like the Maple Leafs and William Nylander are far apart on a contract. But before we go any further into this video, make sure to like and subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Thank you to all the people that have subscribed recently. I really appreciate it. Make sure to comment down below when you subscribe. I'm trying to respond to all the comments, so if you sub, make sure to comment so I can thank you personally. I know a lot of people who are watching these aren't subscribed. I'd appreciate it if you did. It does help a lot by liking and subbing. But the William Nylander talk is going a little nuts right now. So as you can see, the tweet, that's the video link down below. You can see Julia McKenzie and Chris Johnston from the CJ show on SDPN. They were talking about William Nylander, and they were talking about the fact that the Leafs and William Nylander negotiations aren't going very well. The talks have gone south. Now, a thing I brought up in, I think it was the last video or the video before that, that I need to make very clear that I think some people are very confused about. Whatever, like, let's say William Nylander signed a contract today or tomorrow. That number does not affect the cap this season, the one that's coming up right now, like the one that they're going to play in a few months. It has nothing to do with that cap hit. William Nylander already has a 6.972 or whatever it is. Let me just quickly take a look at it. 6.962. I was off by one of the numbers there, but $6.92 million contract. That is for this season. So if he signs an extension, which he's eligible for, that will affect the cap next season. Not this one, but the following season. So people are like, where are they going to get the money now for Matthews and Nylander? No, they already have the contracts that they need for this year. That was part of their last deals. But if the Leafs want to get these guys done, obviously it's going to affect next year's cap situation. And it's been widely reported that William Nylander wants $10 million. Now, I know a lot of people on here are quick to look at the Leafs' new additions and go, okay, well, the Leafs don't need, Nylander anymore. I'm just going to let you guys know things from both sides. You guys know that when I make these videos, I try not to be biased. Now, William Nylander is one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player on the Maple Leafs. But would I just be willing to give him $10 million? No. In the open market, does he get 10 or 10.5? 100% yes. Teams will be lining up to sign him for that number. And if you think I'm crazy, just look at some of the deals that have been signed recently. When a player that scores 40 goals or 35 goals, whatever, goes to the open market, they're going to get whatever they ask for. And $10 million is not unreasonable in the open market for William Nylander. But what we need to do, you guys and myself, is look at the pros and cons of every situation for William Nylander. Now, this is the first point that I wanted to look at, and this producer Drew Livingston. So Nylander wants $10 million, and why wouldn't he? Marner got $11 million 4 years ago. He's a 40-goal scorer and a pending UFA. Thinking he'd take a discount when no one else has is ridiculous, and that's part of the things that we need to look at. If Marner took a discount, sure. If Matthews took a discount, sure. But those guys got maximum dollars. Now, Nylander's far away from those deals because he's getting paid less than $7 million a season. Now, that's fantastic, but he's outgrown that contract substantially. You can't sit here and tell me that Mitch Marner is $4 or $5 million better than William Nylander. He's not. So I think the sweet spot for William Nylander is around $9 million. And again, I've brought it up in other videos. The tax situation forces the Maple Leafs to pay a little bit more on their contracts. It looks like they're getting paid a lot, but guys like Kucherov in Tampa and the example was the Tavares contract, they don't make the same amount of money, but in actual dollars they do. Their cap hits are different, but in actual dollars, because of taxes, they do. So that's the reason why the Leafs might have to offer a little bit more money. But with Willie, it's tough because this is probably the big payday that he wants to get. And with the cap going up in a few years, if he's going to sign an 8-year extension, which is the max that he can do, he's going to be saying, look, the cap's going to go up by the time my contract is over by like probably $15 to $20 million. So my contract is going to look like nothing, and I'm going to be making less than what everybody else is because the market's going to go crazy because the cap hit percentage will change and everything like that. So he's saying, if you want me long term, you have to give me what I want, which is over $10 million, because in 8 years, that contract is going to look like nothing. But what the Leafs are saying is like, dude, like, we kind of want you in the $8 to $9 million range for whatever years. The years haven't really come out. So I think the Leafs are going to be in a tough spot here, because I think Austin Matthews, who's reportedly willing to take a discount, I think Nylander wants to see if that actually happens first. Because if Matthews takes a discount, then Nylander has no choice but to take that discount as well, because it's like, okay, well, Matthews took it, so I might as well take a little bit off my contract to make this fair. But I ultimately think that both Matthews and Nylander will end up signing deals that are less than 5 years, so that way in a few years they have an opportunity to cash in again on a big contract. Now, do I love that? No. But by then the Leafs will also have the money to be able to sign them to those deals once again. So I don't think the Leafs are too worried if they get them anywhere between 3 to 5 years. Now, briefly, before we go into the other part, I want to look at just his base numbers here. So $6.962 million. So again, under $7 million. He's only 27 years old. And of course, like, he's looking for that big deal. But if we look at Nylander since coming into the league, he's gotten better over time. Now, 80 points in 81 games, 87 in 82, 40-goal season. He's got multiple 30-goal seasons. He's got a couple 20-goal seasons. And then when you look in the playoffs, he's got 40 points in 50 playoff games. So he's performing in the playoffs. He's giving you good numbers in the playoffs. And this is where the Leafs, unfortunately, don't exactly have all of the power when it comes to negotiations, because sure, the Leafs just got Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi and Ryan Reeves to get grittier and, you know, chip in a few points here and there. But if Tyler Bertuzzi continues to be injury prone, which knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't, and let's say Max Domi maybe just doesn't play the best, and then they also trade William Nylander, they're screwed. Because as much as Marner and Tavares and Matthews are good, we've all seen that these core four guys sometimes need that secondary scoring. And if you take away one of the main contributors, your point totals and your goal scoring and your wins are going to go down. The Leafs are already not as skilled so far this season in terms of the players that they've acquired and the players that they've lost. This team got a little bit worse offensively, in my opinion, but they got better overall. I know a lot of people might not agree with that, but I think overall, I think the team got better. And again, people are going to hate me for saying that, but I genuinely think skill-wise and scoring-wise, they're getting a little bit worse. But you lose Nylander, it'll be even worse. Now, if the Leafs go out there and they make a move where they get back a really, really talented forward that's kind of in the same position but is willing to take a little bit less. And, you know, I know a lot of people are pointing to Calgary, but there's no guarantee that those guys would sign long-term in Toronto either. So the Leafs need to be very careful with what they do, because you can't just lose Nylander and get a couple forwards from Calgary or a forward and a defenseman from Calgary that end up not sticking around. So it's a very, very fine line. It's super difficult, but the Leafs have to make something happen here that makes sense. But I'm going to show you something else here at the Oak Leafs on Twitter mentioned. Was curious about comps, so comparisons. So just sharing. According to CapFriendly, here are the current contracts of the NHL forwards aged 26 to 28 who outproduced Nylander last year. So Nylander's in the conversation with a lot of really, really talented players. Now, like anybody who is like McDavid or Draisaitl, or even Pasternak and McKinnon, all these guys who are putting up 100 points, those guys are just like other worlds good. Like, we all know these are the elite of the elite. But being mentioned with guys like Rantanen and being mentioned with guys like Mitch Marner and Braden Point, this guy is pretty damn good. He's in a pretty good conversation there. And, you know, as you can see, his goal scoring abilities, I mean, he was right there with a guy like Nate McKinnon. He's scoring a bunch more goals than Mitch Marner. Like, he's a goal scorer, and that's something that the Leafs struggled with at the end of last season. They couldn't score goals, and against Bobrovsky, they couldn't score. And Nylander, I believe, was over a point per game, or just about. He was 10 points in 11 games with 4 goals this past playoff. The Leafs have, like I'm saying, I'm not against a Nylander trade completely, because if you can get better, then, and you think that you can make adjustments in 2 different areas, be my guest. But if you make a Nylander trade and you don't get back somebody who can score a bunch of goals, then you're probably in trouble, because the Leafs can't afford to lose goal scoring. You can upgrade everywhere else. You can be physical. You can do all those things. But the fact of the matter is the Leafs struggled quite a bit last year with scoring, and it was apparent in that Florida series. People blame the defense. Those forwards were missing all their chances and all their opportunities, and I thought that I almost said Campbell. I thought that Samsonov, before he got injured, wasn't the greatest, but he wasn't bad, and Joseph Woll stepped in and actually did a pretty good job. So I'm not going to blame the goaltending either. They got beat because they couldn't score. They weren't physical enough, which they've addressed, and they couldn't score, which they've slightly addressed. But the problem is that, again, you can't add these guys to this team and then lose William Nylander. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. You have to win a Nylander trade, which is almost impossible. So we'll have to see where the Leafs go with it. But if you guys are new here, like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Thank you so much for watching another video. I know there's a lot of new subscribers, but continue to do so. It helps a lot. So thank you guys very much. I love you guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Sound off in the comments about Willie the Kid, William Nylander. Peace.